Sports podcast featuring Greg and Jack starts right now.
Oh, welcome in everyone to the Every Point Sports Podcast. I am Jack Stache from Fantasy Farm Sports. We've got Greg Kratzer, the OldGamerGK, with us like every Sunday. Guys, how we feeling out there? Greg, most importantly, we got another week of football. How you feeling?
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love this time of year. I really do. Trees are turning, colors out there, football's back. I mean, what better Sundays are there than football Sundays?
So I'm going to give you 2 minutes right off the top to talk and brag about your Alabama football team. Go.
Roll Tide. How about them? Woo! Wow, man. I tell you what, though, you did not want to be around me for about 10 minutes of that game because I was spitting and sputtering, and I think I even made up some curse words. Oh yeah. But dude, number two, Williams, 17 years old. Are you kidding me? Unfreaking real this kid is. Ball tracking skills like no other. Guy is short, 175 pounds, but you see him push that freaking corner right off of him. Come on. Oh, I'm sorry. Really riding high on that win. Reality is going to set in before the end of the year, I'm sure. But man, they have a good young team. 2 key freshmen in that game, Williams, and I can't remember the corner at the end of the game to pick him off, pick Beck off. But he's a freshman too. Jackson is his name.
All right. Get it all out of your system.
Oh, huge win, man. Huge win.
So I will tell you that I had Georgia winning, or I will tell you that I had Alabama winning this game.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, for reasons that have nothing to do with football. Our hearts go out to the people in Georgia that are dealing with waters that are way beyond what they've ever expected up there.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard things like Augusta National is not in the ruins, but it's going to take some time to get that course back to thinkable playing.
Mm-hmm.
It's so I think a lot of the players had to deal with getting family members and stuff like that to different hotels, making sure people are getting water, and football comes second to all that stuff. Obviously they had that in their minds early, and then Georgia started getting their heads in the game and coming back, right?
My heart does go out to them. But as far as the game goes, I think we just came out like they were saying on TV, the commentators with haymakers. We were doing stuff that we didn't do the first couple weeks of the season. We were pushing the ball downfield. We weren't relying on the run. I mean, we didn't even have a run play until the second drive. Could you be right? Absolutely, you could be right. I mean, like I said, it's a shame what's going on there. And again, it's just a game. So anybody that is affected by it, I do apologize, and I do hope that you recover quickly, and that everybody, family, and you are all right. But besides that, the game itself, I think Georgia was ready. But you have to remember, Georgia's 2 losses since Kirby Smart has taken over has been against Alabama.
God, you think they looked? I think they looked sleepy.
They didn't look good last week against Kentucky.
Well,
they almost lost to Kentucky. Listen, I get it, but we're better than Kentucky. All right. You don't think we're better than Kentucky?
You know what? I thought the best team in the SEC was Ole Miss.
No.
I thought that this was the year for Ole Miss. It still could be.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought that they had the most continuity. Right.
What really disappointed me with them, and I was saying, I think the last time we talked about Ole Miss, was the strength of their team is their offense with Lane Kiffin. Their defense is garbage, but they haven't played anybody. That 62-0 that they put up or whatever was against a scrub school. It was against a school that they have no reason to play against.
But now I think we could start saying that the strength of Kentucky's team is their defense.
Oh, absolutely, but it's always been their defense.
Well,
Kentucky, Kansas State, Kansas, it's always about their defense, those type of
not
schools,
always.
you know?
Will Levis came
Okay,
out of
well,
Kentucky.
90% of the time, I'll
I
say
know,
that.
I know, but I'm
There's
saying
always an exception, but I'm just saying, those type of schools, usually when they go on a run or they're really good that year, they go like, 9-1, 1 or 2 losses, it's because their defense is so good.
yeah. I mean,
But
I
no,
agree.
you're right, Kentucky is for real. They really are. I was shocked that Kentucky won yesterday. I mean, I put Ole Miss blew 2 of my parlays, so I had them in 2 parlays, screwed me over. But again, that's what happens when you can't play really good defense, though, and you go
Yep.
against somebody like that runs the ball, and that was smack you in the mouth on defense because that's what they were doing. The
Yeah,
wide receivers didn't want to catch the ball by the time the end of the game.
Kentucky will sour mash you, right, guys?
Mhm. Another big upset yesterday, and some people might say it wasn't an upset, but, what was it? Uh, was it Arizona or Arkansas that beat Utah? Utah lost.
Oh, yeah, I didn't
Utah is
think it was.
12 against an unranked team.
Yeah, but Utah had a bunch of players that were gonna be missing or injured or, off the reservation or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, but it's one of those things when you usually when you're, they were a top 10 team before they lost, this year, but, they're a deeper team. They can withstand a player or 2.
But did they
Uh
have a starting quarterback though? Because I think that
Yeah,
always
no,
matters.
you're right. That's actually what was almost, oh, who was I watching earlier? Oh, I forget, but they
All right,
lost their quarterback too. Anyways, enough of college football.
let's go to the pros, baby. Let's go
Let's
to the
go to
pros.
the pros.
All right, we're all grown up on Sunday, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Football Sundays. Football, I always have, family football Sundays here
What
at,
game do you wanna
the
start with?
Krauser. Let's see here. Well, let's bring our, stuff
Let's
up,
bring
and
our
we'll do
sheet
what
up.
we normally do.
Let's bring our sheet up, guys, because we gambling today. We are. I'm feeling it. I am.
Alright.
I'll tell you what. I am taking all of my money back. A couple of my bet your
Yeah,
houses
there
are
was a
finished.
couple I like, how about that Steelers game? What the hell happened or not Steelers, the, Raiders game. What the hell happened with that?
I said we had to be
Andy
careful.
Dalton playing lights out, hasn't played a game in, like, 2 years?
Yeah, but it's when you hear about the quarterback position and you listen to Brett Favre talk about it, and he doesn't even remember talking about it now, but Brett Favre used to talk about it's basically easy. The guy's running a slant, he's running an option route, he's running this, he's running that. They're running a zone. There's only so many things you can do here. Right? There's only so many surprises they can come
Mhm.
up with. Andy Dalton's seen a ton of football. By the way, Andy Dalton, when he first came into the league as the Red Rifle, he played like the third preseason game or something and lit it up. And they went, "Oh, that's the guy we drafted. Okay, well then you'll just start the first game." He's always kind of just been thrown into the mix. He has a great arm. He's unfortunately now he's unsellable.
Mhm.
So, is there a big difference between Andy Dalton and Joe Burrow? Not really. But one of them is
Decision making, absolutely.
I think they're about the same.
I don't agree. I think Dalton's a trash quarterback. He always has been. Uh, I can't say trash. He hasn't been a good quarterback. He's been
Did he support
serviceable
a number
enough to
one wide
keep his
receiver for
job.
more than 5 years?
Yes, yes.
So, then he's Matt Ryan? Really? I mean, that's who he is. Yeah, he's Matt
Less
Ryan.
than Matt Ryan. Less than Matt Ryan. He is more like a, oh boy, I don't even know because I've never been sold. I never liked Dalton.
I
He
mean, what's
is,
he, Ryan Fitzpatrick on steroids?
what's that?
What's he, Ryan Fitzpatrick on steroids?
That's all right. He's a little bit better than Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Right. And you know what? Ryan Fitzpatrick once upon a time, did pretty well for a bunch of teams. So I'm not going to
Mhm.
discredit Dalton, but he's unsellable.
Well, that's why I have to say I have to premise my comments by saying that. Like, listen, he's been in the league for how long? So he's been serviceable for some teams. He's even had a long career as a starter. Um, I think that the reason why he had that long career as a starter is because you can't find too many quarterbacks that can run an NFL system.
And what we
It's
do know,
really hard.
is that Bryce Young is not a player in the NFL now.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
watched I watched someone, I can't remember the guy's name, doesn't matter. It escapes me at the moment. But I watched a guy break down Bryce Young's tape, and it's high school tape. It's embarrassing. He doesn't know what's coming. He doesn't know how to break down a defense. He's broken. And I don't know if there's a way to fix a guy that's been picked up and thrown 4 feet in the air by NFL defenders. It's Tua is a bigger bodied guy. And you could be a smaller quarterback, but you really need to know how to maneuver and get some things done. And I think Bryce Young's done. I really do. Maybe he'll get a shot somewhere else. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody spent a lot of draft capital again, thinking they could get him to work, and it doesn't.
Mm.
They're missing. They're
I
just
think
missing what he is.
I think if you put him in the right system, like a Mike McDaniel system, LaFleur system, a McVay system, a coach that knows how to use a certain quarterback a certain way, I think he can succeed. I think he could be an NFL quarterback, but you throw him in just some random teams, I'm with you. He's gonna fail. He's gonna need the right system. He's gonna need the right coach to nurture him.
So here's the thing. You are talking about the guy that revived Geno Smith's career. You're talking about the guy that, even though Baker had bumps last year in the road and wasn't perfect all the time, he revived Baker Mayfield's career. This is Dave Canales. Dave Canales after 2 games. And by the way, he is the most patient guy you'll see at a press conference, Dave Canales. He sits there and he's like, you know what? He goes, everybody got better this week. They lost. They would lose last week like 20. They would lose 27 to like 14. Okay. They got pummeled by Philly early on the season. He goes, you guys didn't take a lot away from today. He goes, but I think there were fantastic positives. What Baker did late, and he would go on about the positives. Dave Canales benched him in after week 2.
Listen, I get that. I think
insane.
it's the situation that he's in, the organization that he's in. I think it's just bad all across the board. I don't care who you brought in at Carolina. I don't think that was going to fix him. He needs he needs a change of scenery.
Maybe. I mean, but it's like
That's what he
slapping the
needs.
Pope. That's what
What's
I think.
that?
Like Dave Canales is so he's patient as the Pope.
Mhm.
And after 2 weeks, he's like, brother, I got you a number 1 receiver, and you haven't even thrown it to him. Get out.
Mhm.
I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, let's get to these games.
First game, we got Steelers at Colts. Steelers are giving 2.5 points. Wow. Over under is 40. Steelers are at negative 130 money line, and Colts are at plus 110. This is a little bit of surprising, considering Colts really can't score right now, and the Steelers have that defense.
But we're in Indy.
Yeah.
And here's what Pittsburgh's done, right? The Steelers are 3-0, Jack. They're going to the slow down. Slow it down.
Your roll.
You're driving 65 and a 35, and you're about to be pulled over by the mustache guy. Here's what's going on. Pittsburgh won the first game against Atlanta. Kirk Cousins, coming off Achilles, didn't really trust it. Okay, he didn't. And that's not a defense you want to open up against. They won on the road, right? Then, what was it? Pittsburgh's second game. Who did Pittsburgh get in their second game? Oh, they got the Denver Broncos. Rookie quarterback and Bo Nix, Mr. Checkdown himself. They didn't have to do a lot there. Just don't turn the ball over. And they didn't. And last week, but they got the Chargers and the Harbaugh. Slow it down again. Herbert had a high ankle sprain. All you had to do was decleat him once early, and he was going to get uncomfortable. That's a tall man on a bad ankle. Okay, so they haven't gotten anyone at their full strength. And Denver's full strength isn't very good yet either. Okay, so My thought process is you're getting a quarterback as athletically gifted, maybe a little bit more than the one that you have in the building in Anthony Richards.
Mhm.
Okay. And I've been comparing over the past couple weeks. I think Alec Pierce is for real. I keep saying it. And again, last week, 1 catch for 44 yards. All he does is catch bombs. And he catches them. He made Desmond Ridder at Cincinnati. By the way, Desmond Ritter's out of the league. He wasn't even good enough to back up Kyler Murray. Lost a job in
No.
Atlanta last year. Then he went to go back up Kyler Murray, and they're like, you know what? Not you. He's not even good enough to hold a clipboard. Okay? So that's how good, to me, Alec Pierce is. Alec Pierce made Desmond Ridder, much like Mike Evans made Johnny Manziel. Oh, you can't be comparing those two. Why not? Mike Evans was quick, 6'4", 4.40. Alec Pierce, 6'4", 4.340. Quick, catches balls in the air, wins all the jumps. Basketball career, all that stuff. But, I mean, who cares if he went to Cincinnati? By the way, Texas A&M before Manziel and Mike Evans wasn't this juggernaut school.
Mhm.
They were fine, but let's not pretend like they were Texas or in the SEC, because they were not.
No.
So as long as we're just let that idea marinate, I think Richardson could do enough bad in this game as well as good. I think he can if he throws an interception long, you think he's going to stop throwing long? Nope.
No, absolutely
Nope.
not. That's not in his blood.
And everybody that plays Pittsburgh, once they throw the first pick, they go into this shell, this 5 to 7 yard, 8 yard, 9 yard shell. Richardson's not going to do that. Your cornerbacks could get tired from running 60 yards down the field.
Mhm.
And that's all his wide receivers do, run 60s. I also think that Josh Downs is important on these slants. He can hit downs on slants, and he likes downs and trusts downs. I think that if you're going to start Pittman Jr., you've absolutely gone off the reservation. You're nuts. I don't think the rookie's done much either. I think it's going to be Downs and Pierce.
Downs and Pierce, yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think Pittman is is your guy if you're going to start him. Pierce has been getting more targets, doing a lot better. Yeah, I don't know. Pittman is, he'll sprinkle in a big play here and there, but he's nothing consistent.
I like Indy here, by the way.
Mhm.
I like
Okay.
Indy here. I like Indy at home. You got to understand that Pittsburgh went down to Atlanta, played the Cousins, right? And then I believe they went to Denver, right? Again, grass field. And then they went home and played the Chargers, grass field. This defense looks really good. You're going to be in the dome now. You're going to be kicking up rubber pebbles, right? Like, how well will you adjust to a real different environment in Lucas Oil Stadium? I think it's a thing. I understand that the Colts have no chance to beat the 3-0 Stees. They have a chance.
I like opposite of you this game. I like the Steelers.
Opposite of me.
I like the money line. But I don't like the points. But I do like the Steelers. You mentioned it that they're in a dome, gonna be kicking up pebbles. So therefore that means Fields is gonna be even faster on the field.
I agree. Yeah.
So I think he's gonna have a big day rushing the ball today. And I think they come out with the win. I think Pittsburgh's defense is strong enough to hold Richardson in check. And I think it's going to be a low scoring game, something along the lines of like, 10 to 20, 10-16, somewhere in there.
I think that's where Pittsburgh wants to play. I do. But we also have to understand that the coach of the Colts was once upon a time the offensive coordinator for the Eagles. Right. So
I get that. I just don't think they have the firepower to put that many points up on the Steelers.
I don't think Pittsburgh can come from behind and win. I really, and that's been Fields' thing.
I don't think I don't think I agree with you, and I don't think that they want to put themselves in position to play from behind. I'm kind of interested in seeing if they can, though. What Fields can do, pushing the ball down the field. He hasn't been asked to do too much of that. He has hit Kenny Pickens on a couple nice plays this year. So yeah, I mean, I kind of do hope they're down by 7 with 2 minutes to go.
7-3, 7-6, 14-6 at halftime. And Pittsburgh's looking around going, this is not how we want to play this game. I just got look at, and by the way, people go, Anthony Richards is going to throw in interceptions. Okay. Well, what if he's Jameis Winston with legs? Because he can throw interceptions, but you have to understand that Anthony Richardson can uncoil absolute bombs. And if he gets lucky twice, do you think Justin Fields is going to have the gall to start throwing them as well? I wonder. I really wonder.
See, I think Pittsburgh's defense is athletic enough to where Richardson's not going to have that big of a day rushing the ball.
I don't think he's going to rush. I think he's just going to throw rockets. I that's what I think. That's how I think. I think the coaching staff went, look, if you throw 4 interceptions today, we don't care. And he went, well, excuse me? What did you say? I'll throw all day long. Yeah, but they're going to go, we don't want 20-yard in routes. We want bombs. We want to force that defense to be spread out, right? Because I don't care if Steph Curry's missing threes. Spread them out early. Go 3 of 8, right? And then we'll dial it in later. I think that's what happens in this game. Colts.
All right.
On the money line.
Okay. I like the Steelers on the money line.
All right.
So, all right. No big deal. Listen,
put that one on the board.
It's great. We're not going to agree on everything.
No, that's true.
All right. We got next on the docket. We got Philadelphia Eagles at Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Eagles are giving 1. Over under is 42. Money line. Eagles are at negative 115. Bucks are at 105. Negative 105. What do you think about your Buccaneers, Jack?
I think they're really banged up. They are banged up.
They are.
They don't. They're running. Their running back this week and quarterback might be Baker Mayfield. Rashad White's got a groin troubles. Bucky Irving's gotten a hamstring. They got real running back issues. So Philly's not healthy either. AJ Brown's out. They got a bunch of other guys.
Smith is out.
Devonta Smith is out, right? Lane Johnson, their best offensive the Bucs offensive line's been bad. But Philly's offensive line has been good, but now they're getting unhealthy like everyone else. I want to say that if Philly was at full strength, they'd be looking for what happened to them in the playoffs to kind of come back and help them. But I guess to me, Philly hasn't looked perfect. And I think in a game where both teams don't have to look perfect, I'll take the Bucs. I think that they do better when things get sloppy.
Okay.
What do you think?
Listen, I liked the Bucs a lot last week, and they let me down. So I have a sour taste in my mouth from last week. And I know we need to drop what happened the previous week, blah, blah, blah. But I think Philly just gives a heavy dose of Barkley. And unfortunately, I see the Bucs losing 2 in a row on this one.
Yeah, and you know what? They could lose 2 in a row. That's probably the bet. And if they lose, I think they look good. First of all, I think they look much better. Like Philly has to come down the field, and the Bucs' whole defense is banged up, right? But
I don't see it as a blowout at all.
And then they get 2 divisional opponents in a row. So let's say the Bucs lose today and they go to 2-2, right? And they got a short week. They get Atlanta. Let's say they get Atlanta. Then they get New Orleans after that, and then they get New Orleans too. All of a sudden, 4-2 doesn't feel bad because you got 2 divisional wins. That's how I'm kind of looking at it.
Get a little healthier.
Yeah, because they need it.
Yeah, they do. So yeah, I do like the Eagles in this game. Money line. Most guys, listen, if you guys hear me pick, most of the time I don't touch points. I go money line. I like giving you who I think is going to win, who's going to lose. Every once in a great while, I'll play some money on the spreads. I love to do some teases though, so we'll talk about that later.
Who else we have?
All right. Wait. As far as fantasy projections on this game, Evans didn't do nothing last week. Godwin was a nice addition, but he's a little banged up. Supposed to still play. Who do you like as far as fantasy options here? Buccaneers running back. Should they pick him up? The guy that's going to be playing today? Should they not?
No, in fact, if you guys have better options at running back, go with the better option at running back because I don't I think that Bucky Irving's hamstring will be good enough to go.
Mhm.
Rachaad White's a taller running back, and if something hits him early, that groin could cause real trouble. Um, I like Evans here because what they're going to do, or what Liam Cohen and Baker Mayfield are going to do, is they're going to attack Philly's rookie cornerback, and
Mhm.
but he's really not as talented as Mike Evans is, savvy and tall.
Mhm.
I just think that if the Bucks play the clock well enough, I do believe that they can figure out Philly. And
Mhm.
again, now we're going back to the same problems Philly has, right? Is Sirianni getting out coached? And we start having the question marks again. This is if Philly loses, this is worse for them than if the Bucks lose.
Uh, mm, yeah, absolutely. Really quick on the whole Sirianni thing. You were talking last week how Dan Campbell you didn't think was a good coach. He makes stupid mistakes, blah blah blah.
Oh
Which
yeah.
all valid points. You're gonna have to start saying the same thing about Sirianni. Why are you going for it on fourth down all the time inside the 30-yard line? Like kick a field goal every once in a while.
So the one thing to me that's different in contrast with those two coaches, right, is Dan Campbell plays to his personality. Right? He's absolutely 110% genuine.
Yeah.
I think Sirianni's a little wishy-washy, and I think he's kind of a liar, and
I
the
mean,
players believe that he's a liar, and that's a
mm,
problem.
oh, yeah, absolutely. But I'm just saying, no matter how you want to say their personalities are, if you look at the results, what they're doing and the results from what they're doing, they're both making bold-headed coaching moves.
Yeah.
So if you're going to say that about Dan Campbell last week, we have to say the same thing about that with Sirianni this week. I mean, he
Uh,
literally almost cost them that game.
yeah, I don't think Sirianni does a great job in the moment, just like Dan Campbell.
No, and he was getting praises, his first year there because of the analytics and him going for it on fourth down, and I'm getting it. Well, you're looking at the consequences when you don't get it. You don't have, Jason Kelsey under center right now anymore. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have a guy that can get, pure leverage and just push the line 2 yards for you. You don't have that anymore. So therefore, take the points. You know how pissed off I was with the freaking Kyle Shanahan against the Vikings when he went for it on fourth down inside the 20. Take the doing everything I can not to curse. Take the points. Always take the points. I hate this modern NFL stuff where analytics say, well, if you make it on fourth down here, your chances go up 82%. Well, you know what chances go up is when you score points. That's how you win the game.
The difference between Sirianni and Campbell to me is this. Dan Campbell got his offensive coordinator stay. Dan Campbell says, "Hey, listen, I know you got the Washington Commanders job, but I deserve 5 minutes." And he sat down. Ben Johnson sat down with him, and he said, here's my 5 minutes, and this is why I want you to stay. And we built something here together. Let's not leave this out on the table." And he convinced Ben Johnson not to get on a plane.
Mhm.
Sirianni could not convince his offensive coordinator, who now coaches in Indianapolis. He couldn't convince him to stay and finish the job together because,
Mhm.
much like the players, that guy doesn't believe in Sirianni either.
Mhm.
And I
No,
think
I'm
that
with
if
you.
if they lose, like if the Bucks lose,
Mhm.
everybody's with Bowles. There's no
Yeah.
Bowles is a bad.
Mhm.
Nobody in that building
Yeah.
thinks Bowles can't coach. There are
Mhm.
people in that Philadelphia Eagles building that whisper behind Sirianni's back, and he knows a little bit of it is true.
Mhm.
That's
No,
what
I'm
kills him.
totally with you. I'm totally with you. I mean, you see the division between him and Hurts. You know what I mean? Like, you got one coach with Campbell where the players will run through a wall for, and then you have a player like Sirianni. If you ask them to players to run through a wall, they turn around. Why?
I'd be so interested.
Big difference.
I'd be so interested if Tampa Bay went up 14-0 to see what that Philly sideline looks like.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think Godwin's gonna have a decent day. I'm with you. I think Mike Evans is gonna have an alright day. I think he's gonna have a bounce back week. Like I said, he didn't do much, last week, and that's usually with Mike Evans. If he has a down week, the next week he usually pretty much I don't wanna say go off because I don't wanna give you guys false hope, but he does very well.
A lot of it was Peterson man to man,
Mhm.
and then they were bringing a safety over the top. So a lot of it was, he was good enough to guard him, and then they were bringing a
Oh,
guy
no,
over the safety,
absolutely,
got him
and
anyway.
and
So
and what I said, when we did our, fantasy football draft special was that the Bucks were moving Godwin back into the slot, which
yeah,
is
you
gonna
mentioned that a
increase
lot.
his value, and what has it done this year? Dramatically increased his value.
Yeah, that was a great call. That's probably the call of the year. Um, if you took that information from Greg, fantastic. I mean, because that's paid dividends, especially in PPR leagues. Chris
Oh,
Godwin's played with
absolutely.
a lot
Yes.
more in PPR leagues. So
Yep.
great
Mhm.
call.
Okay, so next on the, list, we got Denver Broncos against the New York Jets. Broncos are getting 7.5, over unders 39.5. Broncos are at 3 plus 340. Jets are at negative 440. I mean, this is pretty much a no-brainer. I mean,
Hey, I
the
want to use
Jets
my brain.
what's that?
I want to use my brain.
I mean, the Jets should walk away with this fairly easy. The, Broncos had a nice win last week, very nice win last week, but I think that's going to, really hit them hard. Reality's gonna come back.
So here
The
comes the
Jets have
staff
a really
storyline.
good defense. Wilson is starting to really, find through with Aaron Rodgers. Hall still isn't rushing the ball like we thought he was going to, but he's a heck of a receiver out of the backfield. So the points that you're not getting from him from rushing, you're definitely getting well, hopefully in a PPR league, you're getting all your points from him receiving the ball, which, you really don't care how you get the points as long as you get the points. So I do see the Jets, winning this and winning this very easily. I mean, plus negative 440, it's not going to win you much money. You can add that in on a parlay. Again, guys, I don't touch spreads that much at all, so I'm not touching the spread.
Here's the stash storyline on this game.
Okay.
Here we go. The Jets are going to absolutely crush the Broncos. It's going to be an embarrassing show
Hmm.
because once upon a time, Nathaniel Hackett used to coach up in Denver,
Hmm.
and they
Oh,
got
yeah, I
yeah,
forgot about
here it
that
comes.
storyline.
And this has
Mhm.
been brewing for years. And
Yeah.
Sean Payton came in there and he goes, this place is a mess. Absolute joke coaching job. Doesn't belong in the league. It could have kept his mouth shut, but couldn't help himself.
Hmm.
And they really wanted to settle the score last year, but Aaron Rodgers got hurt. Aaron Rodgers has this one circled.
Yeah.
And
No, I agree with you. Yep.
in case you haven't watched Aaron Rodgers last week, he got good again against New
Hmm.
England just in time to go. I'm telling you, this one has extra flavor written all over it. But the Denver Broncos defense is ranked. They're getting smashed. If
Hmm.
you have Denver's D this week, take them out. Take a 0 because they could end up with negatives. That's how bad this is going to be. I'm telling you
Hmm.
that the Jets could score 35 by halftime. He's taking a personal. Braylon Allen is going to be a battering ram early, right? Because they're not going to be stupid. Braylon
Hmm.
Allen is going to put up points, probably get a touchdown for you guys today. And then Brees Hall is going to be second half guy. And that's when the Jets start to pull away. There is no way Denver wins this game. They should rest on their laurels last week of winning down in Tampa because this one's going to get ugly and ugly quick.
Hmm.
Don't turn
Yeah,
on the bar lights while you're watching this game. It's getting ugly.
this is the lock of the week. This is the bet your house, whatever you want to call it. But Jets over the Broncos money line.
That's
Again,
good bait.
it's not gonna make you a ton of money, but you're not gonna lose on this one either. Uh I'm so glad Jack brought that up because that totally slipped my mind about the whole Daniel Hackett situation and, Peyton coming in and, pretty much just saying everything bad about the guy. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers took that personal,
Yeah,
and,
'cause he likes him.
yeah,
He's a
yeah,
friend.
he likes him a lot. Yeah, yeah, I
And by
see
the
him
way,
coming in. And listen, I have Aaron Rodgers in one of my leagues, and I am so happy right now.
Sean Payton is the least he's the least professional coach. Like, why would you don't say that about another you don't have to do that.
Mhm.
You had enough credentials with a Super Bowl victory and wins walking in that building. You didn't have to talk about you can give them a mundane answer. It's gonna be different with me around here. Just say that. And
Yeah.
he started taking jabs and, I think Sean Payton was so upset on how he was cast aside in his announcing career because he was awful at it.
Mhm.
That that he just wanted to come back and make and announce that he was back, and you didn't have to do it this way. You're
Yeah.
going down today, Sean, and you
Yeah.
deserve it.
Yeah, I agree with you. That was classless of him. It
Yep.
really was. You don't do that. It's pretty much an unspoken rule in the NFL. You don't do that, and he broke it. Um, he came
It's just
off
a
like
bad
a grumpy old man. Is what a grumpy, disgruntled old man is what he came across as. Uh,
it's like in Pee Wee sports, right? Or farm league sports, if you will. Right?
ooh,
Yeah, it's almost like in farm league sports, which is other things that we cover, calling somebody else's kid terrible. Well,
mhm,
don't do that. You
yeah,
talk about your team and
yep,
what you've accomplished and the practice and the hard work. Don't go, "Yeah, man, we scored 7 goals because that kid's blind." Don't
yeah,
do that, right?
yeah,
Maybe he's blind.
absolutely.
Maybe
Mhm.
he's trying his best, but you don't have to talk about the Smith kid like that. It's inappropriate and unexcusable. I hope Sean Payton loses by 30 today, and he has to sit in front of the microphone and go, "Well, uh, we're getting bet." You're not getting better.
Mhm. Yeah,
I hope
no.
he's getting fired soon, actually.
I don't think they will. They owe him too much money, and, I think when he took the job, it was, the understanding was, "You gotta give me time. Like, I need to rebuild this from the ground up." So
Yeah.
I think, Elway is gonna be patient with him, and he's gonna get his due diligence there.
I would love and this is a rumor that has no legs, by the way, but you know what? We're gonna put it in a wheelchair for right now.
Okay.
Alright? I I think it would be fantastic because 'cause you're getting the same coach with some integrity. I think if they fired Sean Payton and brought in Nick Saban, that would be fun. That would be fun.
It would be. I think Saban's done. I don't think he wants to come back.
No, I think he's done. Like I said, we're just gonna put it in a wheelchair. It's not walking around
Okay.
this rumor.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, we don't want him on a wheelchair on the sideline either, though.
Come on, he'll be fine. He can still get up and down the coach, right? Put a hat on, he'd be alright.
All right, so we both like the Jets on this
Yeah,
game.
big time.
Uh,
Mhm.
yeah. All right, next, 1 o'clock game, we got Cincinnati Bengals at the Carolina Panthers. Uh, the Bengals are giving 4.5. Over under is 47. Money line, Bengals are at -205. Panthers are at +170. Could the Bengals go 0-4? Could they?
No, no. I'd go bet your house again on this.
Listen, I didn't think they'd go 0-3 last week.
I think what happened was I think the mistake Cincinnati made is they went, "You know what? We've seen what Washington is. We're just gonna be everywhere on them. We're gonna turn this into a high-scoring affair, and they can't keep up."
Mhm.
And the problem with that is Washington also knew what they were. And they went, "Our defense is terrible. We're gonna have to score a lot of points." What Joe Burrow should have done was slowed the game down. And I
Mhm.
think what Cincinnati will do today is control the clock a lot, right? So what you wanna do with a quarterback that hasn't played a lot is, I don't know, leave him off the field.
Mhm.
Affect the timing and rhythm and all these other things. And, the generalship part of it. If
Mhm.
you're just going blow for blow, Andy Dalton's like, "I can put up 30. Let's put up 30." But,
Mhm.
if you're starting to affect the timeouts in the game and you're starting to affect was that pass interference, if you can start turning it into more of a chess match, which Joe Burrow plays before games start. If you just in checkers, you take piece for piece. In chess, the difference is pieces have different values, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you could have a truckload of pieces all over here, and it's fantastic, but none of them really hold the same amount of value as losing a queen.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what's going to happen here is Joe's going to run. I think you have him this week. I'm glad I'm not playing you. Or maybe my opponent does. I love Zach Moss. I love Zach Moss for 20 plus carries.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they're just going to bury Moss right down Carolina's throat because Carolina has no guts, no heart in that defense. And, with that, Cincinnati's going to get their first win this week. That's my value because you're getting value now. That's my value
Oh, yeah,
bet
absolutely.
your house this week. I'm
Mhm.
sorry you guys lost the house, but you can move back in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I also like the Bengals on this. I find it hard to believe that they would go 0-4. I felt very confident. Any team that went against the Panthers last week, they proved me wrong. Andy Dalton, I'm not a believer, but he proved that he can still do it here and there. So just like anything, they have a puncher's chance, but I'm with Jack on this. I like the Bengals. I like the Bengals a lot. At negative 205 money line, you can make yourself a couple bucks there. So way more than the Jets game. So yeah, I do like the Bengals on this. I mean, if you want to really push it a little bit, why don't you just do the Bengals and the Jets, tease the points there, and yeah, make yourself some money there.
Here's
Jets,
what's
if you teased it, that you would be giving 1.5, and the Bengals, if you teased it, you'd be getting 1.5.
Yeah, and that's a great play. I think what's interesting here is the fact that when Andy Dalton was in New Orleans,
Mhm.
right? When that orange hair donned that cream colored jersey. So he had to come in a couple games and play for Derek Carr. He was banged up mentally and physically or whatever. And Andy Dalton at the end of that season played just about when they took the same game sample size. He put up the same numbers as Derek Carr. I think Andy Dalton could probably do what Joe Flacco does for a franchise. I think he knows enough football. He's been in enough football games. He's done
Yeah,
enough.
he's a vet. He's a vet.
But,
He's seen enough. He's been around it.
but I do think if you start playing clock games with him, it could get a little different.
Mhm. Um, the problem with that premise is, as far as if you project it out to a season, is we all know what Andy Dalton will do. 1 week he'll look like he did last week, and then the next 3 weeks he'll look like, well, he's not even starting quarterback. And my second point to the whole thing is, before this year, you and I both agreed Derek Carr was trash.
Yeah, I mean, he's a bicycle.
Yeah, yeah. This year he's playing a lot better. If he keeps it up, and then we'll have to put our foot in our mouth. But as of right now,
because he got
you're like, no,
no. I don't think Derek because he got a 4-year, $100 million contract.
Mm-hmm.
He's never been worth what Tom Brady's worth. Oh, but it's only a couple year difference here.
Yeah, but you had even seen what 1 year of a difference did in the wide receiver market. I mean, it went from 20 million up to 35 million.
I think the most egregious wide receiver contract I have ever seen was Sammy Watkins getting 15 million to not play for the Chiefs.
Yeah, yeah.
I'd say play, but he didn't take the field.
Yeah, yeah.
I'd love Sammy Watkins for years too.
Oh no, he should have been really good in the NFL. He had a lot of talent, but he just never could put it all together on the field, stay healthy. That was his main thing. He just couldn't stay healthy.
Broke my heart.
All right. Let's see here. So we both like the Bengals on that. So if you want to take my advice, tease the Jets, the Bengals, get yourself a nice little win right there.
That is great advice.
Next on the docket, we got the Jaguars at the Houston Texans. Jags are getting 5.5 in this game. Over under is 44.5. The Jags are at plus 195. Texans are at negative 238. It's definitely a
Hold on, ready?
right here. Nick is definitely right with this. Michael Thomas comes to mind. Yeah, you have a one good season and a bit really 2 good seasons, and you get paid for those.
Yeah. No, Michael Thomas is great. Chef
Yep.
Nick, that was a great point. Yeah, Michael Thomas actually did less than Sammy Watkins. Sammy
Yeah.
Watkins, the year though, you wanted to believe. Like Michael Thomas gave you some believing years.
Yeah. You had 2 really good solid years with him where he really proved he was a top wide receiver in the league. Sammy had a couple good years like that, but there's always been those coaches that was like, but look at him, look how talented he is, look how agile he has hands, he's fast, he could run the routes,
He went to
and
the Rams and you went, oh, here's the year. He was
yeah.
like 39 years old. You're like, but McVay. Like you just kept going, look at this, look what he did in college. He can't be too much slower. He wasn't. He
Yeah.
wasn't that much slower. But you know,
Mhm.
he after a while he just didn't want to get hit. He wanted to catch slants and go down. And you're like, man, I wish you had that dog mentality that everybody
Yeah.
talks about. But
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Let's see here. We got the Jags and Texans.
so I gave you the
You
correct.
think the Jags bounce back this week, or you think the Texans bounce back? Who do you like this game?
I don't see any reason. I want this to go out first. I don't see any reason the Jaguars can win a game the rest of the year.
Okay.
I don't. You know, I did. They don't. Doug Peterson, a lot of times, and he did it in Philadelphia. No one wants to admit this. Doug Peterson in Philadelphia got lazy with his play calling.
Mhm.
I'm not saying he ended Carson Wentz's career, but I am going to say that, you know, his lazy play calling starts to get quarterbacks hit.
Mhm.
It just does. I don't know whether I'm not saying he doesn't care about it because obviously he wants to be a football coach. Doug Peterson's a jock
Mhm. Yeah,
first,
he was quarterback in NFL. I mean,
and,
yeah.
and he's a
Mhm.
play caller second. Andy Reid is a burger eating nerd first,
Yeah.
and he
Yeah, he
pretends like
he craps more football knowledge than Peterson could ever know.
he pretends to know about playing football second. That's how Andy
Mhm.
Reid is, right? And I know that what we like to do is we like to put both of them in the same basket because they both coached in Philadelphia and Doug Peterson got a Super Bowl there. But I've seen lazy play calling. Here's what happened. Evan Ingram was supposed to be the focal point of this Jaguars offense. Then he got injured,
Mhm.
and he's still injured. And they tried to shift it, or they tried to get away with Trevor Lawrence having a high enough football acumen to get through this. He does not.
Mhm.
Unlike our Joe Burrow, Trevor plays checkers.
Mhm.
I'm very sorry. He's really good looking. But at the end of the day, we have to admit and say, you know, my biggest knock on Trevor Lawrence was when he came back after, I believe it was like during the COVID year,
Mhm.
right? And he threw an interception to a linebacker from Boston College. It's not your Doug Flutie grandfather Boston College. They're good, smart kids, but they're not a football school. Maybe they're starting to become one again with Bill O'Brien there. But my point is, how did you not, with all the football underneath your belt, read that linebacker?
Mhm.
You didn't read the mic. And that's
Yeah.
like the first thing you're supposed to do as a quarterback. My
Mhm.
point is that you need to help Trevor Lawrence every piece of the way.
Mhm.
He's a pure athlete, but his feet are messed up now. I think he's about 20 pounds overweight because he's afraid to get hit or doesn't want to get hit like he did last year. And the way you don't get hit is get rid of the ball early and make quicker decisions.
Mhm.
But he likes to chuck it. And if you chuck it, you gotta have this Will Levis mentality, like, oh, good, a linebacker's gonna land on top of me. I don't care. He
Mhm.
really he thinks like that. And I
Mhm.
compare these two all the time because I think that if Lawrence, the bigger body, had the mentality like Levis, I think he'd be doing much better. So anyway, they've tried to shift the offense to Christian Kirk,
Mhm.
but Christian Kirk is not a number one.
No. No.
And they know that.
Yeah,
And
they thought he was the next Cooper Kupp. He just never ended up being. When he was younger, he used to catch high volume targets, but he's no longer that player.
And now they're trying to shift it to Brian Thomas, and Brian Thomas is great.
Hmm.
The problem is that Trevor Lawrence got paid and didn't take the preseason reps.
Hmm.
That's the real problem here. So his feet aren't getting set quick enough. I think Trevor Lawrence's ceiling, and people are going to kill me for this. I think his ceiling in the NFL is Joe Flacco.
Well,
I
listen,
at six
Flacco won a
five.
Super Bowl, so
I know 6'5", doesn't have the greatest feet. Used to run around. I think Joe might have been 6'6". Used to run around early, then figured out how to have a pocket presence. But if Trevor Lawrence does not learn to mix bombs with short passes, he's gonna be done.
hmm
I mean, Peterson's this close to benching him.
hmm
And with all that being said, I'm gonna take the Jaguars this week to beat the Houston
Ooh,
Texans. It's
okay.
it's an in division game. I
Hmm.
think that if you get the victory here, that 0-3 slate kind of gets wiped away, right?
Hmm.
You sit there and you go, 1-0 in the division. All of a sudden, we got Tennessee coming up. We got a couple games coming up where we can get moving here. And if we go 3-3 but 2-0 in the division, hey guys, it ain't so bad.
Hmm.
Evan Ingram's back.
All right, I see your
Five
point.
and a half. Take the
I
five
do
and a half.
like. Okay, all right. Well, I like the Houston Texans. I like them as a bounce back, winning it. Mixon is out for this game, by the way. But I think Stroud is going to be tossing the ball left and right. I think he's going to have a bounce back week. He's gonna explode this week. Tank Dell isn't gonna have a couple of drops like he did last week. Stephon Diggs is gonna have a really good week. Yeah, I like the Texans in this one a lot. I don't like the spread. I'm not touching the spread. I like them as the money line. But yeah, I think they're more capable of bouncing back for the win than the Jags are.
Again, everything points to Jags can't play football. And there's no way that and every time that little guy in your brain says there's no way they can win. I actually think that the Jaguars are going to be losing this game. And Trevor Lawrence is going to drive them down the field and they're going to win by 2 after they kick like a 45-yard field goal. And they're going to go nuts like they won the Super Bowl, and it's just going to feel like they got the monkey off their back.
Okay.
That's what I really think is going to happen this game. Please take the 5.5.
All right. Well, Jack likes them. I like the Texans. Moving on, we got, I hope Nick is listening now. We got the Minnesota Vikings at the Green Bay Packers. Vikings are getting 2.5. Again, they aren't favored. They are not favored. Over under is 44. The money line is plus 114 for the Vikings, negative 135 for the Packers.
Packers by 70. Vikings lose. Done. Move on. Done. Yeah, you listen to me, Nick, because the L's are coming. Sam Darnold's about to go pumpkin.
Listen, I like the Vikings this game. I've been sleeping. I'm not really sleeping on them for the past couple weeks, but just going with the odds makers, saying that I do like the Vikings. I gave my reasons why I like them. They have proved me wrong every week. Sam Darnold, he doesn't need anybody else. All he needs is Jefferson. That's it. That's it. Throw it to Jefferson. Let Darnold and Chambers, is that who it is? Their backup
They're back
running back? The backup
No.
running back for the
Childers
Vikings.
or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I think they both have, 2 I think they have a good game. So, yeah, I do like the Vikings this game. It is a division game, so watch out for that. Uh, again, I think the Vikings defense does just enough to confuse, Will Levis
No,
or
they're not.
Willis.
Yeah, here's the thing with the Packers. I watched them last week, and I've watched them for the past couple weeks now. And
Ty
I think
Chandler, that's what it is. Ty
it was.
Chandler.
It was LaFleur, it was McVay, and it was Shanahan all in the same room in Washington,
Mhm.
all coached together. And I will tell you that out of those 3 teams, The Packers run the ball the best right now.
Mhm.
The Packers won with a quarterback that can't read a defense. That he can't figure it out yet. All they did was run the ball on the Titans last week, and the Titans knew that they were gonna run it.
Mhm.
That's really to me, that's interesting because I think that Brian Flores-led defense in Minnesota is gonna do what he always does. I think he's gonna blitz. I think he's gonna be blitz
He
happy,
says Jordan Love is playing, Nick
and he's gonna
said.
that's fine, he could play. I mean, I don't think Jordan Love's gonna have a big impact here. I think that what Jordan Love is gonna do is put them in the correct, better packages to where LaFleur doesn't have to scheme as much, but he is going to walk them right away from that blitz. And that's where you're gonna find yourself in trouble for Minnesota. The Packers are quietly the best running team, besides maybe the Steelers, in the league right now.
Yeah, the Vikings can stop that run, though. I feel very confident in that. I think their defense is very underrated. Um, and even with Jordan Love coming back this week, I think he's a little rusty. I think there's enough. I think there is enough defensive blitzes from Minnesota to confuse them a little bit. So I like Minnesota by a field goal in this game.
Fun fact. We love fun facts, don't we?
Absolutely.
Sam Darnold has never gone 4-0 anywhere in his career.
Hmm.
Anywhere in his career. And it ain't gonna
Listen,
stop.
I liked Arnold now. I think he matured a lot. I think he learned a lot at San Francisco. I think he learned how to study the film a little bit more than he did in his other stops. So yeah, I think Darnold is he grew into a starting quarterback. He finally has a chance. He has a strong number one. I mean, come on. I mean, you even throw Andy Dalton into this Vikings offense and give him Jefferson. He's going to put up points.
I like that you said that because I would take Andy Dalton over Sam Darnold.
I would not.
In camp, I think
But
Sam Darnold loses to Andy Dalton.
no, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that.
Sam Darnold lost his job to Baker Mayfield when he was there for 5
Listen,
minutes.
I understand, but that was a while ago, and I think Darnold grew into the position. I think that year with San Francisco, 2 years with San Francisco, I think really helped him. I think it helped him learn the game, the little nuances of the game, because that's what Shanahan wants from his quarterbacks. He wants him to know those nuances of the game.
But not smart enough. Because if he was smart enough, we know he's more athletic than Brock Purdy.
Mhm.
Not good enough.
No, I mean, no, absolutely not. Brock Purdy was the future. Everybody knew. I mean, Brock Purdy is a damn good quarterback. You know,
No, I
you
get that.
have to put him up there.
I get that, but if you had a 95 arm and Brock Purdy's got an 85 arm, right? Let's just put
Yeah,
them
but
there.
you and I know it's not about the arm.
No,
It's
no,
all the other stuff.
I'm not saying it is, but if you got a 95 arm and an 85 arm, what's your brain? If Brock Purdy's got a 95 brain, what's your brain? 72.
Mhm.
No, it's a
Yeah,
real
but even listen, if he had say he had a 72 coming in, brain wise, and he leaves with an 80. That makes him a better quarterback. You put him over with you put him with a great wide receiver, and magic happens.
It does. I think he's
Yeah,
about to
listen,
turn back.
yeah, you put a strong arm quarterback with a receiver like Jefferson. Come on, you know
I
what I mean?
I think the pumpkin's coming. I think Sam's about to go, he's about to turn into a pumpkin. It's
Listen,
October.
is
It's
this a
pumpkin
game
season.
that I feel very confident about my pick? No, but I am jumping on the Vikings bandwagon a little bit. Until they prove that that they're going to
It's
lose.
1 week too
That
late. You should have did
defense.
it against San Francisco.
No, I shouldn't have. They were a 6.5 point freaking favorite. Come on. Or a 6 point favorite, whatever they
You
were.
said you weren't gonna curse.
I know. I'm trying not to. You get me heated sometimes.
I know. I
So you like the Packers this game. I like the
do.
Vikings. I do think Jacobs gets his points. I think Reed gets a touchdown in there. Love Jefferson this game. I love Jefferson every week. So come on. And I think Andy Dalton. Dalton is becoming an almost must start in the fantasy leagues.
Oh, Darnold.
Yeah, Darnold. Yeah, not Dalton. Darnold.
I agree with you though. Andy Dalton is almost a must start.
No, he's not. But anyways.
All right, who we got next on the docket here? We've got 59
Okay,
minutes
next
till we
we
start.
got the Saints at the Falcons, another division game. Saints are getting 2.5, over unders 41.5. Money line, Saints are at plus 120, Falcons are at negative 142.
I don't think there's a lot to say here. I think that the Saints, had favorable matchups week 1 and week 2. That's what we're finding out at least. I think they lose. I think it's Falcons. And
Mhm,
but Kirk Cousins, I don't want to hear the Kirk Cousins thing anymore.
mhm.
It's the birds out there talking that he can't play in prime time and all this other stuff. They're insane. They're insane. They should be admitted.
No, I look at Chef Nick's comment.
You have Dalton starting. Yeah, chef. Listen, he knows how to cook. He's Chef Nick, man. Listen, he knows what he's talking about, right? The red rifle. Oh, he's back before Christmas.
Listen, he's saying that because he's in a league where he could start 3 quarterbacks, all right?
Yeah, but Dalton's the one.
He's the one. He's the chosen one. It just
He
took him
is. He's
30
got
years to
Andy
get there.
Dalton. He's got Daniel Jones, and he's got Jameis Winston. You'll see.
All right,
I
back to the
it's
game.
Atlanta.
Back to the game.
It's
Saints
Atlanta.
and the Colts.
It's
I
Atlanta.
like Atlanta in this also. I think Atlanta's defense is playing very good right now. I think they're starting to get it together on offense. I think that loss last week with the Saints hurts them a little bit psychologically. I think they come into Atlanta feeling a little down on themselves, and Atlanta takes advantage of this. So I do like Atlanta this game also.
Do you remember that Queen song that went #1 overseas really early in their career?
Oh, what is that?
Bicycle, bicycle. Derek Carr's a bicycle. He's a
So he
bicycle,
turns
folks.
back into a bicycle this
That's
week.
right. He's losing his engine. He's gonna start crying at press conference. I can't believe-" He's going back to being Derek losing mascara everywhere car. He's going back to the bicycle. Kirk Cousins and the Atlanta Falcons introduce you to what a quarterback and a football teams look like. I'm not worried about the Aints.
All right. Okay. We both like the Falcons in this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Next, we got the LA Rams against the Chicago Bears. Rams are giving 3, over-unders 40. Rams are at plus 130 money line. Bears are at 155 money line. Who do you like this game, Jack?
I just I I think the Rams beat what? They beat the 49ers last week, right?
Mhm.
And we talked about that being a close game. I can feel you patting me on the back for that pick. I said be careful. In fact, I said take the points in the Rams, right?
Mhm.
It doesn't mean I think the Rams are good.
Mhm.
It just means I think they were in a perfect spot. I think you have to understand coaches and relationships and how these games kind of play out. I don't think the Rams are very good. I think you guys are missing Caleb Williams because of the tremendous amount of pressure that Chicago has put on him. But I think he's
Mhm.
getting better. And week in and week out, he is getting better. So I got the Bears. I think their defense is good. I think the Rams don't have enough playmakers. I'm a little worried about Stafford because you guys all the time talk about guys that have, they're injury riddled and they have an injury history. Stafford does. And he's a
Mhm.
tough guy, but he's starting to run out of options. And remember a couple years ago when he ran out of options and then they ran John Walford out there and they brought Baker Mayfield in. This is starting to look like that year.
Mhm.
And listen, the Bears defense is tired of being talked about and the whole team itself. I think they're going to come in there. I don't think Stafford makes the whole game. I think he gets walloped and knocked out. And I think it's a pretty Caleb Williams you start to see a couple glimpses and you're like, oh, all right. Well, okay, well that guy then. We'll take that guy. What do you think?
Mhm. I like your analysis. I think that could very well happen. I think the Bears defense could come in, smack Stafford right in the mouth. Um, Caleb Williams, eventually he needs to have a good game. Rams have really nobody on offense except for Atwell and the running back.
I think that was it. I think that's the
Yeah,
whole no, Kyron Williams
yeah,
is all right,
Williams. Yeah,
but they're putting
that's pretty much their offense. I think the Bears does enough to shut them down. I think the Rams are flying high from last week. So yeah, I like the Rams or the Bears money line here. Um, it wouldn't shock me that if the Rams won, just because McVay's one is a hell of a coach too. You know, um,
I'd be
seems like
shocked.
he does his best coaching when he has most of his players hurt. you
Yeah,
know.
I think I'd be shocked, and I think McVay knows too. You know, he's out in LA. He knows he's seen Caleb Williams a little bit,
Hmm.
and he just McVay's he's fighting with two hands tied behind his back right now. Like they gutted one out last week, and usually when you gut one out, you feel great about it. Tampa Bay against Detroit, you end up losing the week
Yeah,
after.
the week after. Yep. So
I
I see. Yeah, I could see
didn't
it.
even look like a football team, and
Yeah.
I think Stafford is very prepared.
Hmm.
But, I mean, sometimes you just don't see them coming, and I
I
don't think
agree. I agree. I like the Bears in this one. You would
Oh, I
think
like the
it was an
fantasy
upset.
sleeper.
You would think it was an upset but by the bookies, Rams are getting 3.
Let me give you a fantasy sleeper.
Ooh, okay.
DeAndre Swift has not looked good in Chicago.
Mhm,
DeAndre Swift, one of his biggest problems wherever he's gone, a little bit indecisive, not hitting the hole. And I have a feeling you're gonna see a lot of Roshan Johnson this game. I
okay.
think DeAndre Swift is going to be the second fiddle player here. And Rashawn Johnson's a running back. For you guys that don't know, he's a running back that played with Bijan Robinson at Texas. A
Mhm,
lot of his tape's good. He's a thumper, and I think he's going to get in there. He could look a little bit like Tank Bigsby does for Jacksonville. If you guys have been paying attention, he looks a little bit better than ATN. He's not a perfect seer of the hole, but as far as getting there and drilling, he's a good driller.
mhm,
And I just think Rashawn Johnson's going to get an opportunity. He's one of those players that has a lot of athletic ability, but doesn't necessarily look the best. He doesn't look the sharpest. He's not the shiniest tool. But I think today you just see a guy go out there. You're like, wow, that was 7 yards. He ran that guy over. They should use him more. And I think Chicago's going to start seeing that a little bit more. Rashawn Johnson's a great start today.
okay. Alright. Nice little fantasy sleeper for you guys.
Yeah, I like him.
Okay, so we both are in agreeance. We both like the Bears here.
Yep.
Next, we got the Patriots at the 49ers. Patriots are getting 10.5. Over-unders 42. Patriots are at plus 440. San Fran is at negative 600. Um, like the Niners this game. I like them to come back, bounce back this game. We get George Kittle back this game, so another extra weapon. In case you guys, I am patting myself on the back right now. If you guys remember last week, I said if you guys could pick up Jawan Jennings, pick him up, throw him in at your slot. What did he have last week? Almost 200 yards receiving and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, it was
So,
great.
I expect another big game from him. Maybe not quite as big. Maybe a touchdown here, 100 yards receiving. I keep saying it every week, and listen, one week I will be right, but Ayuk will have a good game.
Uh,
It's inevitable. It's gonna happen. But yeah, I think a little insider scoop here, guys, about the Niners. Uh him and Ayuk and Kyle Shanahan had a little spat at practice this past week on Wednesday, I believe it was. The whole team was in black shorts. Ayuk comes out in red shorts. Shanahan did not like that. Chewed his ass out. Actually made him put black shorts on right in the middle of the practice field. So I think Ayuk's going to be humbled a little bit. I think he's going to come out hungry, a little pissed off. Um, So I think he's gonna have that dog mentality this week. I do like Ayuk as far as fantasy wise. I think he's gonna have a really good week. Um, so fantasy owners of Ayuk, here's your bounce back week. I know I've been hearing it from you guys. Now back to the betting side of it. I do like the Niners to come back and win this week after that sour taste they got in their mouth last week, losing to the Rams. Um, Patriots just doesn't have enough right now. They are playing good defense, but like I said, we are yeah, we the 49ers are getting Kittle back, so that's another weapon for Brock Purdy. For you guys that didn't watch the game last week against the Rams, Brock Purdy looked great during that game, running around like crazy. Our offensive line is horrible. So yeah, I like the Niners this game.
So I'm gonna give you a phrase that hasn't been synonymous with Patriots football in probably 30 years.
Mhm.
But here it comes. Outcoached. It's okay to get outplayed by Aaron Rodgers and an athletically superior team. It's okay.
Mhm.
It's okay. But it's not okay to get outcoached. It's not okay to understand that the Jets are bringing a blitz and you not call one screen. It's not okay. It's
Mhm.
not okay that, Jacoby Brissett did all he can do with the tools that you gave him, which weren't very many. The wide receivers couldn't win on the edge. Okay, well, you gotta start dinking and dunking at the guys that you have. You have to start getting it to Gibson and Stevenson earlier in screenplays or whatever to make that defense start to think. You didn't do that. And even worse, at the end of the game, when they were just teeing off on Brissett, Gerard Mayo thought it was a good idea to bring in Drake May.
Mhm.
Drake May can't read an NFL defense. That's why he's not playing, Patriots fans. In case you're wondering, that's why he's not playing. He
Yeah, I mean,
can't
when he
tell.
was coming out, everybody knew he was gonna be a bit of a developmental guy. I still think he's gonna be incredible, but he is a developmental guy.
He is, but they just set him back 2 years. They
Mhm.
just set him back 2 years because they put him in an NFL game and let him run for his life in the last 5 minutes.
Mhm.
That's absolutely he. So you made him part. You thought it was a good idea. It's fine in college. Okay, it's fine in college because you can get away with athletic differences here, but this is the pros. You put him in a game for which he wasn't a part of the game plan with
Mhm.
5 minutes left to go and let him throw some passes. What
Mhm.
a waste of time.
Mhm.
What a waste of time. I couldn't, it was impossible for me to watch. I thought they put the kid in a bad spot, and now you're going to San Francisco. You think you're going to be evenly matched?
No.
No. San
No.
Francisco is gonna not only outcoach you, they're gonna out scheme you. They're gonna
Mhm.
I think I'll tell you what, this is one of those games where you're like 10 and a half. I wouldn't bet. I tell you what, 10 and a half probably ain't enough point. I know you don't like taking points. The
Mhm.
points might be the play here.
Yeah, I can tell
It-
you what, the money line is not the play because -600, I mean, those odds aren't there for you to do anything with except for you maybe throw them in a parlay somewhere.
No,
But
but I'm
yeah,
saying like everybody's
you
sitting
know.
there going 10 and a half is too many points.
And listen, you're getting almost even money with that, -108. So, it's almost even money there.
49ers, I will concede the 10 and a half. And I
Okay.
love money lines all the time. I'm conceding 10 and a half.
Mhm. Okay. All right, Jack likes the points. I like the money line. I could very well see it being a, you know, 32-3 game,
Oh,
you know?
it's gonna be
So
bloodbath. Bloodbath.
So we both like the Niners this game. We both told you what we thought as far as fantasy starters in this game. I think Polk is going to have an all right game for the Patriots. Like somebody's going to have to catch the ball somewhere. So I think Polk is athletic enough to have some sort of fantasy value in this game.
Yeah. I don't I need to see the coaching improve. It
Mhm.
was
I agree. I agree.
it was embarrassing. It really was.
Mhm.
I don't I think for the first time, you didn't push people around and you didn't adapt. So,
Mhm.
that that
Okay.
that can't be that way.
Mhm. Yeah, you keep going like that, Mayo's not gonna have a job much longer.
I mean, they'll give him time to coach. I understand that, but
Eh, will they though?
yeah, they will because,
After following Belichick, they're
I
used to
I
winning.
I think the
Robert
old
Kraft
man
wants to win.
I know, but the old man, Robert Kraft likes him, and he likes that he's kind of a part of the franchise like Jerry Jones a little bit. He's in his own locker room and
Yeah,
there's
yeah, I mean, he was the guy there. Now he's the coach there, I get it.
All right, what's next on our docket?
Alright, next we got, one game that I think is gonna be surprisingly good. Washington Commanders at the Arizona Cardinals. I think this is gonna be a very high-scoring game.
It is.
Plus 3.5. Commanders are getting 3.5. Over/under is 48.5. Commanders are at plus 145. Arizona's at negative 175. What do you like here, Jack?
Um, the Commanders looked great last week, and
Mhm.
it's a fun story, but they're out in the desert now.
Yeah.
Air's a little bit more dry, and I think that Kyler Murray is a better general right now than Jaden Daniels probably still is, and I still don't believe in that Washington defense. I mean, you could so, but if Burrow had the ball last, they probably would have scored a touchdown.
Mhm.
So, Washington defense is still terribly bad, and Arizona gets one out in the desert.
I agree with that. I think Arizona does just enough to win.
Yep.
Uh,
How much?
Jalen Daniels definitely is the future of the NFL. Is playing lights out as a rookie. I like him a lot. Um, I mean, he's looking like a generational talent right now. But I don't think it's enough to get past the Cardinals. I'm with you. The Commanders' defense comes back to earth. They give up a lot of points. They're going to give up a lot of points to Kyler Murray. So yeah, I like the Cardinals this game. As much as Washington showed improvements last week, I think they just get knocked down. So yeah.
All right.
All right, next. By the way, that was our the Patriots and Niners and Commanders and the Cardinals are 2 4 o'clock games. Other 4 o'clock game is Cleveland Browns at the Las Vegas Raiders. This is a game I do not want to watch. I'm sorry, I did skip one. We'll get back to that in a minute, though. We got the Cleveland Browns at the Las Vegas Raiders. Again, I do not want to see this game. It's going to be a trash game. Cleveland Browns are giving 2.5. Over unders 37. Money line Cleveland is at negative 135. Raiders are at plus 114. Who gets the bounce back win here?
I think it's the Browns. I think the Browns are collectively okay.
Daniels, by the way, Daniels rookie of the year. Absolutely. I totally agree with that. Hard to
I
believe at this point he wouldn't win it.
I think collectively, the Browns are okay. They're not good. They're not great. They're okay.
Mhm.
Uh, Unfortunately, the Raiders aren't together.
Mhm.
The Raiders aren't together. Devontae Adams probably wants out. That the rumors have been strong. Max Crosby, I don't know what his whole plans are either. But Antonio Pierce has gone out and he's basically said, if you guys don't want to play, then that's fine.
Mhm.
I'll find guys that'll play. He's calling players up from his practice squad that have a lot of talent. Um, so I mean, I think Cleveland wins, but I actually think Antonio Pierce is a really good coach. I think he's in the toughest division in football. You're in a division with 2 Super Bowl champions and a guy who went to a Super Bowl and won the NCAA title. I've been saying it all year. You're in a division with Peyton, Harbaugh, and Reed.
Mhm.
That's the hardest first time head coaching job ever.
Mhm.
Ever. So I think he's trying to get as much heart as he can get out of his players. And, they don't. I don't know whether they want Aiden O'Connell or Gardner Minshew but I think it's all of them
Mhm.
doing poorly. I think Devontae Adams is quitting on routes. I think, there are lots of working parts here, and it is a little bit of a do your job mentality. None of them are doing it. And I think Cleveland at least is getting paid enough. All the players are getting paid enough to where like, all right, guys, let's go 8-8. Let's beat the
Mhm.
bad teams at least. I don't think they're good, but I think they're okay. What do you think? Browns win.
I agree. I think the Browns win. Uh, Unlike you, I don't think Pierce is a good coach. I think he is a great motivator. But
So he's Dan
I
Campbell.
equ what's that?
So he's Dan Campbell.
I think Dan Campbell is a better coach. I just do. I think he's a better as much as a meathead we wanna say Dan Campbell is, I think he's more of a X's and O guy. Um, I just think his emotions get the best of him sometimes, and he makes some questionable decisions.
See, I think it's
Pierce,
Ben
on the
Johnson.
other hand, I just don't think he is a good coach. I think he is a good motivator. He did a good last year as intern coach. Um, but this is the NFL. This is a full season, and yeah, I think. All right, I equate this to the Singletary time with the 49ers. Come in, the honeymoon phase, great. Master motivator, you know? Um, that starts wearing thin after a while with a team, starts losing. I think the same thing's happening, just a little quicker with the Raiders. I didn't think he was a good hire initially as when the Raiders hired him. I think they should have hired a coach, a real coach, and a coordinator, some offensive coordinator somewhere. Um, yeah, that's my thoughts on Pierce.
It's a good point.
Um,
It's a good comparison. I just think that I just kind of think that he's brought in the right people.
mhm,
He's brought in Tom Coughlin. He's brought in all of these guys that are really good and they know how to coach and he knows what he doesn't know. And
mhm.
I think he's admitted to it. Um, but I think it's a bunch of guys who signed on to Vegas who were promised Gruden, and Gruden's not there. Carr's not
Mhm,
there, and they're all sour about it.
mhm.
And unfortunately, it's falling apart.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of the way the Raiders are being ran right now. Um, I think the players are quitting on them, which is what you just said that Pierce is bringing up practice squad players. And let's face it, they're practice squad players. It's their time to shine. They're going to play for anybody. Who cares? They're getting their moment. Let's make the best of it. If I'm not going to play for the Raiders, let's put something on tape where another team will pick me up. So
And you
that
know,
I don't play put too much stock into practice players coming up.
well,
Um,
but you have Kayvon Chasen, who was a real monster at Clemson. He's
mhm,
gonna get a shot, and he hasn't gotten a shot in a while.
mhm.
You got some real Gruden kind of guys that are gonna get shots this week. And I'll tell you what, guys that are going to this is the only thing that's a little dangerous here. Guys that are gonna get real shots against guys that have gotten paid money in the Deshaun Watsons, they are going to go to battle.
Yeah,
They
yeah, yeah.
they
They need to
are
make a name for themselves. They need to make that
bringing
next contract.
the wooden stick. And I
Mhm,
you're right. And I think that Pierce is sitting there going, "Look, I've done a good enough coaching job. You guys have to finish the plays."
mhm,
And he's watched. By the way, he didn't say that before he watched the film and then the game. And he went,
mhm,
"Oh, you didn't want to tackle there. That's interesting." I think he did a lot of that. I
mhm.
think it's not soul searching. He's sitting there going, "Look, it man, if you guys don't have hearts, then I don't care. You're out." And that's the way Coughlin would have coached too. And
Yeah, my
and by
my
the way,
thing though is if your players are losing heart through the first 3 weeks of the season, I mean, I have to equate that to the coaching. I have to, there's an issue there somewhere. There's a
yeah, maybe.
disconnect somewhere. You know what I mean? Those people that you talked about, Pierce bringing in, they're a bunch of old heads. They're old school NFL. They're not new school. They don't relate to the players this day and age. You know what I mean? The game is played differently than it was when Coughlin couldn't coach nowadays. He just couldn't. He'd get out coached every single time. He might have all the knowledge in the world, but he's too stubborn to change his ways.
Be careful. They could be calling him in Jacksonville in a week.
Listen, that's fine. You'll see they'll lose just as much with him as they do with Peterson.
Yeah, but he'll be sleeping in the offices. He won't be leaving. He'll be laying there like Gibbs used to in Washington. All right. What was that?
All
Wait, was
right,
that?
so we both like the Browns this game.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Really nobody fantasy-wise we like this game, correct?
No.
Yeah.
I don't even
Yeah.
like this game's reality.
No, I mean, I even dropped Zamir White from my league to pick up Cooper Kupp, who Jack dropped. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, Cooper's a bum.
Yeah, listen, when I'm in the playoffs and he gets me 25 points in my first playoff week, listen, thank you, Jack.
No
Here,
problem.
I'll text you. I'll text you. Thanks, Jack. Appreciate it.
I picked up a better football player. I picked up Alec Pierce, like I told you guys to.
Listen, yeah, I mean, and right now he's definitely is the better football player because he's on the field.
Availability, guys. It's an interesting thing to
No,
have.
hey, listen, you're right. But if you can get that roster, if you have a roster spot where you're able to put him, let him sit for a little while. Listen, do it.
All right, who we got
Next,
next?
we got the Chiefs at the Chargers. Chiefs are giving 7, over-unders 41. Money line, Chiefs are at negative 340. Chargers are at plus 270. Herbert's supposed to be trying to give it a go. High ankle sprain. We all know how they usually go. I'm not too I don't not too and I don't think Herbert's gonna do too well. Even if he does start, I think it's gonna be limited action. Think he's gonna have to come out of the game at some point. So, I do like, the Chiefs in this game for that fact alone.
I don't like the Chiefs in this game. The Chiefs have been playing on their Super Bowl memory from last year every single week.
Mhm,
Every single week. They've been just getting by teams. I
mhm,
don't think and you're right. I don't think that Herbert's gonna play very long.
mhm.
By the way, the Chargers played against the best defense in football last week. We agree, right? Pittsburgh?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah.
The Chiefs defense is fine, but they're not very good. They're not very
Mhm,
good. They're not world beaters right now, and they might get better as the season goes on. But I love the fact that Herbert might not play very long. That's not what I love. I do like Justin Herbert. But I
mhm.
think Easton Stick is gonna come in, and
Oh, yeah.
everyone's going to be laughing at the television screen. Hold on. He played a great preseason,
Mhm.
and Easton Stick is tall and has some wheels. And I think Harbaugh's gonna walk over, he's gonna hit his shoulder pads like everybody else does, and Easton Stick doesn't know or really he's playing the Chiefs, whatever, they're a football team. I think he goes out there and the Chargers find a way to win.
Okay.
And everybody goes, "Wow, I can't believe the Chiefs lost." Stop it. You guys haven't been watching football. You guys
Mhm.
watch the names and the box scores, but you don't watch how the complete games are going. And I think Easton Stick could come in and the newspaper reads Chiefs get hit with beating stick or something, right? Because Easton Stick's going to look good and you're like, well, he's not the starter for the Chargers, but he might get the victory this week. And by the way, this wouldn't be the first time a backup got Kansas City.
Oh, yeah. Mhm,
Aiden O'Connell did it last year and it didn't matter.
mhm.
It won't matter this time, but Chiefs fans everywhere will be jumping in the river or whatever they do in Kansas City.
Listen, yeah, I listen, that very well could happen. Um, Chiefs have been squeaking out wins this whole year, but if you remember correctly, they did the same thing last year in the beginning of the season, squeaking out wins, here and there.
Take the
Um,
points, though. Take the points. Take the points.
what's that?
Take the points, though.
Okay, take the points. Where are we at here?
We're gonna play
So
line of
you want the
scrimmage games, though.
Chargers getting 7.
Yeah.
Um,
I think they lose, but if they lose, it's gonna be by 3 or 4. It's gonna be a late game decision. But if they win, it's gonna feel really good. And all of a sudden, Reed starts looking around and goes, okay, I understand what we have in this division now.
mhm,
Like, it's not just gonna be Mahomes looking like Brady in a division that, like, I feel like Harbaugh being in that division feels a lot like what Rex Ryan was to Brady.
okay.
But the Jets weren't stopped. The Jets were good.
Mhm.
The Jets slander during that era needs to end because it wasn't bad.
No, it wasn't. They made the playoffs.
Mark Sanchez is a 6-4 playoff quarterback. How about that?
Oh, still known for
Nobody
that
likes
upper
it.
temple, though.
Nobody. I know, but nobody likes it. 6-4.
What do we have? Start Jalen Daniels or Hurts? Standard full PPR. Daniels or Hurts?
I would start Jaden Daniels for 2 reasons. It's the highest over under of the weekend, by the way, Arizona and the Commanders. First of all.
Mhm.
Second of all, I know they're banged up and they didn't look good last week against Denver. Todd Bowles knows what Jalen Hurts is.
Mhm.
He made him look awful in the playoffs last year. And you go, oh, but the first time the Eagles absolutely killed the Bucks with AJ Brown. Yes,
Yeah.
they
Uh-huh.
don't have AJ Brown. They don't have Devonta Smith, and I don't believe that Jalen Hurts knows enough football to be able to maneuver against a Todd Bowles without cheat code players.
Mhm.
I don't love Jalen Hurts. I would bench him. If you guys have
Ooh.
other options, I would sit him down. I'm telling you, Todd Bowles is the master of bend, don't break. You're going to eventually make a mistake. I mean, I know
Mhm.
Belichick was great at it too, but Todd Bowles is a much better coach than you think, than he gets credit for. You got to understand. Todd Bowles led defense, held Patrick Mahomes to 10 points in the Super Bowl. Patrick Mahomes, Travis
Yeah.
Kelce, Andy Reid, 10 points. I'm telling you, I would stay away from Jalen Hurts. He's going to look below average. Jaden Daniels is your starter.
I like Daniels also going up against that Cards defense.
Yep.
Also, they've shown. Listen, Jalen, you go out, do your thing, run the ball, throw the ball, do whatever you need to do. You know, they're letting him do what he basically. Here's the offense. Do your thing. Show us why we drafted you. So he's putting up fantasy points.
Yep.
So
What's our
yeah,
late game?
Jalen Daniels.
What's our late game,
Uh,
Greg?
let's see here. Late
Game two.
game, we have, let's see here. Let me see. Late 8:15 game. We got the Buffalo Bills at the Baltimore Ravens. Bills are getting 2.5, over under 46.5. Money line Bills are at plus 114. Ravens are at a negative 135. This should be a really good money or Sunday night game, huh?
Who do you like?
This is a tough one. It really is. I think it is at the Ravens. I think the Ravens, Lamar Jackson is able to do just enough to win this game. He's getting much more comfortable with his wide receivers. Flowers is starting to break out. Some nice runs by him. So yeah, I like the Ravens doing just enough to come by with the win here.
So here's what here's so the best fundamental defense.
No, Danny, thank you for your question. We greatly appreciate you
Oh,
stopping in,
Danny Nav
and
is the best.
good luck with your fantasy matchup this year.
Yeah, I hope you beat everybody that I'm not in a league with. So yeah, Danny's awesome. He great support of the show, my pages and stuff like that. Post stuff all the
Awesome.
time. Danny's really he's a 100% great dude. So Buffalo's the most fundamentally sound defense in the league.
Mhm.
They really are. They from A to B to C, they do everything perfectly. The problem is that you're not playing a very fundamental quarterback.
That's what I was
Lamar
just gonna say.
Jackson makes you make mistakes, right? Alabama back in the day was one of the top defenses in the country. They're a good defense now, but I mean, there
Mhm.
was unquestionable with the time frame I'm going to hit you with. They couldn't figure out Johnny Manziel.
No.
Johnny was just, and they were like, "What is he? You're not supposed to." Yeah, that's how he plays,
Mhm.
and I think that's going to be a little bit of Buffalo this week. You're going to go, "Oh, Zay Flowers is catching all the passes tonight." Oh, geez, Rashad Bateman catches a 50-yard pass, and it's on the money. Great.
Yeah.
Oh, this guy's going to run again. That's 8 runs in the first set. No, but that's what's going to
Yeah.
happen. I think he's going to be dialed in. I think that Buffalo is going to have to fight like they did the first week against Arizona. The difference is Arizona doesn't have a defense,
Mhm.
and Baltimore's got Roquan Smith ready, licking his
Yeah.
chops. And I'll tell you what, Josh Allen, you might like to run. That dude is going to hit you. And I don't believe that if you run too much today, you will leave this game with all of your ribs intact.
Does
It's a
they
real thing coming.
Yeah. Does that Baltimore defense, scare you a little bit with how much, Dallas came back on them last week?
No, because that game was over. I
Okay.
actually highlighted that when I said McCarthy's done.
Mhm.
That game, the Baltimore Ravens won last week by 4 points.
Mhm.
Dallas scored, and one of them was an onside kick. Dallas scored 19 points in the fourth quarter.
Yeah. That's
That's
what I'm talking about. Does that scare you?
some of it. So they scored, but okay, so 7, they scored 7. And then they onside kicked it. So I just got done. I got some water on the sideline. we got to go back out there because the offense just got the ball on an onside kick. So really, they scored 14 on, to me, one defensive possession.
Mm.
The defense never really left the field. Right. So that's my thought process there. My thought process is like, it was just really one long offensive run on sentence, and it was 14 points. Otherwise, the Dallas gave you 5.
Mm.
You know, that's my thought there. That doesn't bother me at all. I don't think that the end of that game has anything to do with this one. I like Baltimore. Take them on the money line. I think you're getting a little bit of value here. I know the Bills are the best team that football has ever seen. But let's just be careful here. Give me the Ravens on the money line.
Easy, Bills Mafia.
Don't
come after us. We don't want any hits on us.
Even the Mafia lost their head honcho every once in a while, right?
Uh-huh.
Racketeering gets everybody. Isn't that right?
All right. Next, we got Monday night games. We got 2 Monday night games again. We got Tennessee Titans at Miami Dolphins. Titans are getting 2.5. Over under is 37. Tennessee is at plus 114 money line. Dolphins are at negative 135 money line.
This one's
All
tough.
right. Yeah, it is, and I'm trying to remember who the other quarterback that is gonna be starting for
It's
the
Tyler
Dolphins.
Huntley. It's Tyler Huntley.
That's it. Tyler Huntley is gonna be starting instead of Skyler.
You know, it doesn't matter because he's going to be handing the ball off a lot, right? So
Yeah.
I said last week that the Packers have the best run offense. It also went up against Tennessee, who's got no run defense. Okay.
Mhm.
And that matters here because the Miami Dolphins run the same scheme that they ran last week up against Tennessee,
Mhm.
right? McDaniels is from the same coaching tree that LaFleur is from.
Yep.
So they
Mhm.
run the same scheme. I don't believe. I don't really believe. I think the Titans win. I really do. I don't think. I think Miami has a nice showing. I think they look a little bit better. I think there are mistakes that Huntley has. I think he shows a little bit of rust.
Mhm.
You know, whenever he plays his first game, whether it be Baltimore because Lamar Jackson's banged up or whatever in the preseason, he always looks a little off.
Okay.
It's just not crisp enough. And by the way, these receivers he's throwing to are not tall. 5'10", 6 foot. You
Mhm.
can't be a little off and miss just a little high or a little left with the
Mhm.
speed that's going to be on the field.
And is Waddle back? I didn't see if Waddle was back or not.
Even if he is, he's 6 foot and it's a lot of speed and Huntley throws, he's off a little bit.
Mhm.
You know, in fact, when he came in and played for Baltimore, him and Rashad Bateman did well together. But Rashad Bateman, they drafted out of Minnesota because he catches everything that's not on target.
Mhm.
So I think that Tennessee is going to win this game, and it's everybody opens. Oh my God, I can't believe. But look at I'm on the bandwagon, or I've created the bandwagon. Much as I did with Baker Mayfield, I do believe that Will Levis is a really good starting quarterback, and I think you're going to see it.
Okay.
And I think
I'm with
Hopkins.
you on. Oh, go ahead.
I think Hopkins is a fantasy start. It's Monday night. It's under the lights. Levis is going to bomb him the ball. And by the way, my money is right where my mouth is. Greg knows I've been starting Will Levis in fantasy.
Yep, absolutely. Mhm. I'm with you on this. I also like the Titans. I don't think the Dolphins can do enough on offense right now. Besides run the ball, and they have 2 short wide receivers, like you said. I think Tennessee finally gets that win under their belt that they've been wanting that last couple weeks, being so close. Um, I think Levitz does not make the key mistake this week to lose them the game. I say he loses the game. But anyways, yeah, I do like the Titans this game. This is a game that I would take the points, 2.5. Why not take the 2.5? You can make a lot more money on the money line, plus 114. So you can, make a few bucks on there.
You know, I think the interceptions that Will Levis has had are a little unfair. The fumble was
But
him trying
listen,
to make a play at the end of the
you can
game.
say what you want, when it is, how it is, unfair it is. They come in at the most unopportune times.
Well, they do. I mean, but I can't. As Will would say, and he's not going to say it at a press conference, but he can't make DeAndre Hopkins run all the routes. He can't. He can only throw the ball in the zone to settle the wide receiver down. If he continues through the zone, it's insane.
Listen, I get it. I get it. It
I
what
think
I'm not looking at the how, I'm looking at the result. The result is he's turning the ball over at the most inopportune times.
Oh, I
You know
get
what
it.
I mean?
I mean, and what was the other? They counted it. I don't know why they should have counted it as a fumble, not an interception, but they counted it as an interception somehow. But he got pancaked by 2 D linemen at the same time, and
Mhm.
it's like, because it popped up in the air. That's right, and they counted it as interception. He was pancaked by 600 pounds. Like that's how bad his line is, and I just think that if you protect the guy and give him an opportunity, he can really move you down the field. And
Mhm.
I understand that the coaching's a little upset with his turnovers. At the same time, can we have a conversation with the wide receivers coach? Because
Yeah.
if you finish the route, we don't throw an interception on a hook
Mhm.
play.
Listen, I get it. I get it. It's the fact of the matter is it happened. He threw the ball, so he's gonna get the blame.
No, I get it. But it's it's
So,
it's unfortunately that it's unfortunate that the Titans aren't very buttoned up, if you
yeah.
will.
Yeah. Yeah. There's still time to for that team to come together. It's
What's
early
this
in the
last
season.
game look like on
All right,
Monday night?
last game, we got Seattle Seahawks at Detroit Lions. This should be a good matchup. Seattle is getting 3.5. Over unders 46.5. Seattle is plus 154. Detroit is negative 185. Who do you like this game?
So Seattle's been touted. Seattle hired a defensive coordinator, McDonald from the Baltimore Ravens. That's what happened this offseason, right? And they were supposed to have the defense was supposed to be improved, and he hired an offensive coordinator for which he was really comfortable with. The offense has looked good. The defense, however, has not been real sharp. And Seattle's been in real dogfights here because the defense hasn't been able to get off the field. I like the Lions here. I really, really like the Lions here. The Lions haven't played up to their potential at all whatsoever. I'm a big component too of not that games are fixed, but I think that if you see some teams in the moment and we're trying to help the NFL sell something, I think that it does a lot better and you have
Mhm.
better chances. Like if it's Emmett Smith Day, I would bet the Cowboys. I don't care how bad they are. That's how I
Mhm.
am. And sometimes it pans out, sometimes it doesn't. The Lions are wearing brand new jerseys, never released rush jerseys, black on
Yep.
blue.
Mhm.
They are going to look sharp on
They
your
are
TV
nice.
screen.
Very nice too.
They're really
Yep.
nice. It's their new emblem. It's
Mhm.
everything out there being rolled out. I think they beat Seattle, and I think it's
I
pretty
like
convincing.
I like the Lions too. Just real quick on the whole jersey thing. Second nicest jerseys, alternate jerseys that's out. If anybody hasn't seen the Vikings iced out jerseys, please Google it right away because they are freaking amazing. They are probably the cleanest looking jerseys out there. So nice.
What about the
I'm
Bengals?
telling no, no, dude, I'm telling you, I thought the Bengals were there. Wait till you see these. These are nice. Like,
Nothing
even
Vikings.
for me, I was like, "Holy shit, I wish I was a Vikings fan right now."
No, we hate the Vikings on this network. Yeah, we hate them. We hate them. You know what Vikings do? Have you looked up their history? They're not very nice people. They're not very nice people,
They
those Vikings.
plunder and rape.
That's right. They're not very nice people. Bears, they sleep and hibernate and they eat salmon. We like bears. We like lions. Vikings, boo. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. They killed my
Alright,
parlay for yesterday.
so, this game here, who do you like? You like the, Lions? I like the Lions.
Yeah, I do like Lions here.
Fantasy-wise, who do we like this game? Do we think,
Uh,
DK has a good game? Is, Walker coming back this game? What's going on here?
he is, but I'm not starting him because I think that I look at it's not an oblique problem. Oh, he's got
Mhm.
I think it's probably a cracked rib or something, and he wasn't able to play with it. I don't think Walker's gonna get a lot of run here. They say he's fine. He's going to start. I don't believe in what they say anymore.
Yeah.
I love if I had to bet, right? So you're trying to sell the franchise, right? You're trying to sell new players. This is a perfect spot for two young players, and I love Sam Laporta here, and I love Jahmyr Gibbs.
Okay.
I love both of them to get a touchdown. Maybe passing, or maybe receiving and rushing with Gibbs. That could
Nice.
be a little fun. I just think Gibbs is going to have a night. He's not unguardable, but I think the situations that they put him in space, he's real quick.
Mhm.
I love
Okay.
Gibbs. I would bet
Yep.
Gibbs everywhere here.
Yeah, I like Gibbs and I like DK for Seattle. So those are the two fantasy players that I like for this game.
All right.
As always, guys, since we don't see you guys until Sunday, we always like to give you our thoughts. And again, this is pre-injury, anything crazy that happens, but our pick for the Thursday night game, which
Oh,
we got
we've been hot. We've been hot.
Yes, we have. Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Atlanta Falcons. Bucks are getting 3. Over under is 44. And money line, Bucks are at plus 136, and the Falcons are at negative 162. What do you like about this game, Jack?
So I do like the Bucks here. I do believe that today's game will depend on a lot how they look. I don't if they win today, and I know that you shouldn't think like this, but it's fine. You should. I think today's going to be hey, we're working on some stuff.
Mm-hmm.
We're working on this play. We're working on seeing if this works against this defense because we know it. I think what they're trying to do is run certain schemes or run against certain schemes and hope that Philly plays some of the same schemes Atlanta does.
Mm-hmm.
I think that this is a very it's a warm-up game for what they're gonna get on Thursday. This game is not as important. But all games are important. They're not. It's not as important as their division game on Thursday, and I think what happens is that line right now reflects what they looked like against Denver. I think that line comes closer to 1 point by Thursday, and I think that Tampa Bay is gonna win that game. I think Baker under the lights on Thursday night, he looks good, sharp, controlled. I think that Tampa could win the game 20-17. I do believe that. Listen, I believe that Todd Bowles is much like he's the Mike Tomlin of the South, and I think they run a lot of the same defensive schemes. Maybe he doesn't have the firepower Tomlin has up there with certain players, but I will tell you that every player that Bowles drafts, he believes in. I watched him in a press conference before the season started, at a team meeting actually, and he stood in front of the room and he went, "Every cornerback that I drafted and that I took this year, and that we brought up and that we put out there, we expect you to get the ball. I don't want batted down passes. We need the ball." And he continued. He went defensive ends. I want the quarterback to be afraid of you. Linebackers, your job is to tackle. You need to tackle. There is no jokes in this room. And he looked right at me. He goes, "Baker, this is your team now. Lead them. No excuses. We go into the season." And he goes, "We're 100%. I went, "This guy doesn't mess around." Oh, my God. No, but he doesn't. And he's very serious. Everything's Todd Bowles this joke. They're wrong.
Yeah.
And I just think that even if they'll look competitive against Philly, the lines are telling you that, but I don't think he fears Kirk Cousins for a second.
Yeah,
So
I like the Bucks. If the Bucks lose today, I
I like him
really
even
like
more.
the Bucks Thursday night. Yeah, I
Yeah.
like them even more.
I like him even more.
I like Baker on a shorter week than I like Kirk Cousins.
Oh,
Especially the way Baker plays ball. Baker could play in a system or he could play backyard football.
he's a maniac.
So whatever it takes for him to win, he'll do it. So I do like Tampa Bay here. And again, if the Bucks lose today, I love the Bucks. Dan, I love them.
We could be selling
So,
our pillows in our house for this game, guys. It could be a whole house bet on Thursday. We've been good on Thursday, though.
You know what? That will be if the Bucks lose, the Bucks will be my bet the doghouse bet.
The
Bet
whole
the
doghouse.
doghouse. Listen, you already bet your house on Sunday. So if you lost your house, next thing is doghouse.
Don't tell me
So
what to bet. I'll bet everything. I'll bet the land I live on. I want a note from the bank. Give me a second mortgage. You can do those reverse mortgages. I watch those guys in the morning. I sit there and I go, okay, so if I have a mortgage, I can actually do this whole bet the house thing that they're talking about and then live nowhere.
There you go.
All right, guys, we got what? 9 minutes till kickoff. 9 minutes till kickoff.
That's right.
It's
Yep.
great hanging out with you guys every single Sunday. We love all of you guys coming in here, chiming in, having something to say. Remember, it's our voice on here. You can always come on with us and have a chat, right? We're not stopping
That's right,
anybody.
right.
In fact, we're asking you to be a part of our franchise.
Absolutely. That would be a great time. Come in with your with the knowledge that you have and questions that you have and we'll go from there. But yeah, everybody, we greatly appreciate everybody showing up every week, guys. Showing your love. We're growing. We'll get there eventually, but we are growing nicely. And remember, guys, if you guys do like what you see, hit that follow button. If you guys do want to support the channel, hit that sub button on Jack and I's channel. And remember, guys, be excellent to each other.
Unless you're a Vikings fan.
Have
Kidding. I'm kidding. You're welcome here
a
too.
great week, guys.
Enjoy your Sunday, guys.